So how will you evaluate the Mullerian duct anomalies? So step 1 is we have to look at the uterus, whether it is normal, it is well developed, it is small. Then proceed to step 2. Step 2 is, if it is not, you are seeing that it is not proper, the size is small or it is very big, it is very broad. So go to next step, evaluate for Mullerian hypoplasia or a unicornuate uterus. So absent or rudimentary uterus like this, you have to go to all the steps. Then you have to evaluate the fundal contour. So what was that? Fundal serosa. This was convex. This fundal serosa was convex. Then below that was endometrial fundus. So what is that? That was straight and it was a triangular cavity. So we have to look that. So if there is indentation on the external serosa, it is called as external indentation or a fundal cleft. This is also called as fundal cleft. So where you have to look for external indentation. Then second step is you have to look for internal indentation, which is shown by the endometrial cavity. So step 4, do the endometrial cavity communicates or there is a single cervix? Come down and you have to look for that. Also in between you have to look for the angles. Like in arcuate uterus, because the indentation is not much in the endometrium, so it will be obtuse angle. Whereas in septate uterus, the angle will be less than 90 degree. So this was the criteria which was given by Kume for a T-shaped uterus. These criteria were little difficult, but with these criteria you can nicely diagnose that it is a T-shaped uterus. So for these criteria you have to take a lateral indentation angle. It should be less than 130 degree. Then lateral indentation depth, it should be more than 7 millimeters, and this angle between the cornu and the slope of the uterine endometrium, which is also known as T angle, and it should be less than 40 degree. So these are the different criteria. Like you can see here we are measuring angle here, then here we are measuring the lateral indentation depth, and these are the lateral angles. This is less than 40 degree. So this was all work done by the congenital uterine malformation by experts. So this has 3 criteria: T-shaped uterus, lateral indentation angle less than 130 degree, lateral indentation depth more than 7 millimeters, and this T angle less than 40 degree. So all 3 criteria should be present for T-shaped uterus. These are like normal anatomical picturization, like arcuate, little indentation here, septate, this is actually partial septate indentation. Then bicornuate means external indentation. Uterus diadelphys means both are developing normally, both sides. Then bicollis means 2 vagina. Unicollis means single vagina. DES exposure in first trimester will give rise to T-shaped uterus, and one more thing will give rise to T-shaped uterus. Can you tell me? So Cox. So the patients having tuberculosis, that's why T-shaped uterus is important. So coming to hypoplastic uterus, we know that normal size is 2:1. Then it becomes 1:1 infantile type, very small uterine cavity with a long cervix. Then it can be demonstrated on 3D ultrasound, often present in infertile population, and suspected etiology is Cox. Because DES is not used nowadays. It was used in earlier days. So again this is a T-shaped uterus. So criteria are angle less than 130, then indentation more than 7 millimeters, and T angle should, yes. So here you can see again T-shaped uterus. By look only you can make out that this is a very narrow, very thin. Yes, coronal views. So uniconvex uterus, as you told, it is having one fallopian tube, single cavity, one ovary, and this is banana shaped cavity. Yes. So one of the paramesonephric ducts fails to develop one uterine tube, and incidence of premature delivery is high, and that's why it is important to study this uterus. Arcuate uterus is less severe form and slight indentation is seen. Then uniconvex uterus means one side of the Mullerian ducts it fails to develop, banana shaped cavity, single beak like projection of the uterine cornu is seen. Ipsilateral ovary is seen deep to the uterus, and if rudimentary horn is present, ovary is seen near the respective horn. So these are the pictures of uniconvex uterus. You can nicely see. So fundal indentation will be more than 10 millimeter like a biconvex uterus. Here why? Because it is having a rudimentary horn which is giving a appearance of the biconvex uterus. So uniconvex uterus, as we know, there are increased risk of renal anomalies like renal agenesis can be there, pelvic kidney, horseshoe shaped kidney, collecting system abnormalities. Patient can suffer from infertility, endometriosis. These patients come with severe pain because if the menstrual blood collects in the rudimentary horn, then they will have menstrual pain, but the blood cannot come out because of the non-communications. And also there is a backflow of blood, and the endometriosis is always associated with the uniconvex uterus. So the treatment of these patients is really difficult. So arcuate uterus, it is difficult to suspect on a B mode because it will look like a normal uterus only till you measure that depth. So on 3D USG endometrial cavity is concave at the fundus, and external fundus contour is normal. Serosal fundus is normal, that is convex. Distance between the line like interconval line, its middle point and the deepest point between the endometrial cavities is less than 10 millimeter, and the angle between the cavities is more than 90 degree. So you can see here, this is the arcuate uterus. Little dip is there, concave dip is there, and here you can see what is this type of uterus? So is this partial septate or a? Partial. This is a partial septate uterus. So this is a arcuate uterus as we do a 3D ultrasound here. So septate uterus, it is the most common variety which is found, and it is the most common anomaly. 55% of the women will present with the septate uterus. No or minimal indentation on the serosal fundus, uniformly convex, and presence of uterine septum that completely divides the cavity from fundus to cervix. Angle between the cavities is 90 degree. If the angle is less than 75, it is almost 100% confirm that it is a septate uterus. If angle is less than 75 and the distance between the line and the deepest point joining the cavity is more than 10 millimeter, that is more than 1 centimeter. This is Kuhme criteria only, and medial margins of endometrial cavities are straight. So this is the partial septate, and this is the complete septate uterus extending up to the cervix. Subseptate uterus, again we know this. Then this we have read, that is failure of resorption of the medial part of the septum. And differentiation between a septate and a biconvex uterus is important because the septate uterus is treated using a transvaginal hysteroscopic resection of the septum, while the surgery is possible and indicated for biconvex uterus is abdominal approach, that is metroplasty. So for surgical point of view, we should always differentiate that this is a septate uterus and this is a biconvex uterus. So this is a normal uterus and this is a septate uterus. Septate uterus has maximum implications on fertility and pregnancy outcomes amongst all Mullerian anomalies. That is infertility, frequency of ectopic pregnancy is 27%, first trimester abortions 28 to 45%, second is 5%, premature deliveries and dystocia. So which type of uterus will cause cervical incompetence? You have read, no, just before my talk. Yes. Bicornuate uterus has the maximum incidence of giving rise to the cervical incompetence. So that's why we should know always, like this is septate uterus or a bicornuate uterus. So because in some patients we are treating them in the first trimester, but when they don't come in second trimester and they suddenly come with the full bag of membranes, and then we come to know that it is a cervical incompetence. So here we can differentiate the septate and arcuate uterus. That is septum length more than 1 centimeter, angle is less than 90. This is a septate uterus. And arcuate uterus, angle is more than 90 degree and the depth between the middle point of the interconnual line and deepest point is less than 1 centimeter. So this is again the comparison between normal, that is, or arcuate, septate and bicornuate. So in bicornuate, this external contour is not convex. There is indentation of the serosal fundus. So now coming to the comparison with the bicornuate uterus. This is the external indentation which is more than 1 centimeter, and this was the internal indentation less than or more than 1 centimeter. So bicornuate uterus, you can see there is a serosal indentation and it is also causing a fundal indentation. So it was called as bicorporeal septate uterus. So when the unification of two Mullerian ducts is arrested after the process has started, unification process, then it becomes a bicornuate uterus, two separate uterine bodies but always a single cervix. So you can see that why cervical incompetence is happening, because two uterine bodies are sitting on a single cervix. So this cervix is becoming incompetent and serosa is continuous. It is always associated with the cervical incompetence, often get diagnosed during cesarean section as the heart-shaped uterus and association with malpresentations. So these uteruses will have a breech presentation, bicornuate. So on B mode transverse section, widening and division of endometrium is seen with indentation of serosal fundus. Two well-formed uterine cornua, two cavities commonly communicate in the cervical region. Serosal fundal indentation is more than 10 mm and the angle between the two endometrial cavities is more than 90 degree. Myometrial layers are dipping in between the endometrial cavities. So here you can see a bicornuate uterus. You can see the fundal indentation, then endometrial indentation, and these are meeting in the cervix. So what is the difference? You will see two cavities like this. You will not see a fundal indentation in septate. Then also there is a difference that these two cavities, they are convex medially. These are the straight lines and here they are convex. So this is a specimen bicornuate uterus. Here you can see the two cavities are communicating at the cervix. So coming to uterus diadelphys, this we know that complete non-fusion, two cervices are seen and vagina can be single or it can be a double. It can be unicollis or it can be bicollis. Since each horn is almost a fully developed uterus, patients are known to carry pregnancies till term. And when the Mullerian ducts are fully formed, so we will get all these, and two well-formed uterine cavities that are wide apart and they do not communicate with each other. Like in bicornuate uterus, the cavities, they communicate at the cervix. So in diadelphys uterus, they are not communicating because there are two cervix. So this is a didelphys uterus. It's a wide apart and it has its own cervix. So here again the endometrium, this uterine cavity, and this is cervix, two cervices. Then this is bicollis with double vagina, unicollis with single vagina. So which type of uterus is this? The indentation is less than 1 centimeter, angle is more than 90 degree. Arcuate uterus. This one, angle more than 90 degree, 1 to 1.5 centimeter indentation. Yes, subseptate it is. And this one is more than 1.5 centimeters and angle less than 90 degree. So this is complete septate. So now I'll show some slides and ask you like which type of uterus is this? Unicorn. You can easily make out, no? So now when we do a 3D, when I was doing a 2D ultrasound, can you make out from this uterus that it will be unicornuate from this picture? But when I did 3D for this patient, it came out like this. And then I had sent that time this patient for HSG also. I thought HSG will be more confirmatory because to look for the tubes and patency of tubes, because patients with unicornuate uterus also become pregnant. It's not like कि उसमें pregnancy नहीं होगी, तो उनमें भी खूब अच्छे से pregnancy होती है. But then we have to take care that because the cavity is small, so fetus has to expand. So RPL and all those things, second trimester abortions, they should not happen. So we have to carry over the pregnancy with care. So this is the next case. Which type of uterus is this? So why do we say it is arcuate? So this fundal serosa is convex, first point. Second point, angle is more than 90 degree here, more than 90 degree it is. And the distance, it is just 10 millimeters. So actually it can be partial septate or a arcuate uterus. Suppose this patient conceives normally and she comes to you after few days, after few months. So you will treat her as a partial septate uterus or an arcuate uterus. This is the clinical point. Like, no, we'll treat her as a arcuate uterus only. Why? Because she has already ongoing pregnancy. She has already conceived. So septate uterus patients will never conceive. Whether it is for partial septate also, it should be more than 10 millimeters. It should not be borderline also. If it is just 10 millimeters, you cannot say that it is a partial septate uterus. It should be more than 10 millimeters. Like it should, if it is 13 millimeters or like 1.3 centimeters, 1.5 centimeters, then only we can say it is partial septate or a septate uterus. So next, again I have put the slide to look for all this. Now you can easily understand, no? So this is a subseptate or arcuate, or this is septate which is going till down and angle is less than 90 degree, and this distance is more than 10 millimeters. Then bicornuate, please define bicornuate now by this picture. Yeah, not cavity. Yeah, start from above. So fundal contour is not convex, it is concave. Yes. So endometrium is dipping down more than 10 millimeters. Fundus is also dipping down more than 10 millimeters. Then the angle between and they are wide apart. So angle is more than 90 degree. So this is unicornuate, eccentric endometrium it has, and this is a very narrow cavity. with this angle and this thing, you can see that it is a T-shaped uterus. So this one, you can see on 2D, we can see two endometrium here. See the angle between these? That's why I have kept the cases here. Yes. So this is a septate uterus. Nicely you can see this angle is less than 90 degree. These are straight, not convex. Don't look at this. You must be thinking these are wide apart. This is the difference between a 2D ultrasound and a coronal plane 3D ultrasound. So, no. On 2D we cannot distinguish because see, this can be, if I am looking here, it can be septate also, it can be didelphys also, it can be biconvex also. So, this is a septate uterus. Satisfied?
If I have only 2D scan,
yeah.
left side what I make diagnosis.
So if you are seeing, if you are seeing two endometrial cavities on 2D scan, so what is the next step? You don't have 3D scan. So what you can do is either you can send the patient for 3D ultrasound. One thing, that is non-invasive. Patient will not have any pain. She will have a 3D ultrasound.
But for my diagnosis, what I need to do?
Provisional diagnosis, what should be the
Provisional diagnosis is query septate uterus. That is the safest one because that is the most common. That's why we always study the prevalence कि हाँ this is 55%, तो सबसे ज़्यादा cases हम किसके देखेंगे? Septate uterus के देखेंगे. तो ठीक है, query septate uterus and advise 3D ultrasound और HSG. पेशेंट अगर HSG कराता है तो उसको डबल फायदा होगा, उसकी ट्यूब्स का कैनलाइजेशन भी दिख जाएगा हमें, बिकॉज वी आर ट्रीटिंग हर फॉर इनफर्टिलिटी. तो हमें ये भी पता लगाना है कि ट्यूब्स पेटेंट हैं या नहीं है. ठीक है, तो मैं तो हमेशा ये प्रेफर करती हूँ, दो आई डू अ 3D अल्ट्रासाउंड ऑल्सो, बट HSG is always combined in a infertility workup because it gives you always a better idea that whether tubes are patent, whether both ovaries are there, whether free spill is there, और सब अगर पार्शियल सेप्टेट है तो भी, कंप्लीट सेप्टेट है तो भी, और यूनिकॉन्वेट है तो भी. रूडिमेंट्री हॉर्न इज ऑलवेज बेटर सीन ऑन अ HSG. तो अब ये जैसे दिस इज द केस, वी आर डूइंग अ 2D अल्ट्रासाउंड. So what will you do now? So you are thinking it is a septate uterus. First DD is septate. एक और भी चीज़ है, like you can see a convex contour here. So that is also a clue. See, I'll play it again. See, you can see a fundal contour nicely. No, septate, yeah. So fundal serosa like this, convex, and in biconvex, concave. So what is this? This is 2D, this is 3D. Next picture. This may be biconvex, it may be biconvex, or it may be didelphys. Correct. Now you are good. By the end you will only diagnose, okay? So this is the same patient. You can see a little concavity here. So this was a biconvex uterus with a single cervix. Sorry. So this is partial septate. It can be because septum is not going down. So it is partial septate. I have taken measurements. No, here. So this, see, I have also written. This is 2000. Quadriseptate. While taking width, I've written it's quadriseptate. So now I did the 3D of same patient. This is Karuna, no? Karuna. Same patient. So this I have measured it wrongly. Why it is wrong? We have to measure from the intercornual line, interosteal line, midpoint of interosteal line. But I am measuring it from the fundus, serosa. So this is not the right thing. This is a wrong measurement. So we have to measure from here. We have to draw a line joining the two ostia, midpoint of ostia and deep down. So then also it is more than 1.5 approximately. So it is a septate uterus. So this patient, gravida 4, para 1, living 1, abortion 2. She has given birth to a baby with 8 weeks of amenorrhea with spotting PV. She has come to us and we are seeing her now. 2D ultrasound. You can see the cervix also. So first tell me the findings. One thing, very good. Then
The convexity will convex. Dipping of the fundus.
dipping of the serosal fundus. Then
And
Another cavity.
cavity.
two cavities are wide apart.
Wide up.
Angle is more than 90 degree. Same patient. This patient was having missed abortion in one cavity. She has come to you. Now, because it is a missed abortion, you might have to do a DNE for her. So how will you? Right. Then we have to do a PV examination also to find out what. Now you have seen that it is concave first. Then exactly. So if there are two cervices, it is diadelphys, and if there is one cervix, it is bicornuate. Now you understood? I'll show it again. So these were actually two different uteri she was having. It was a uterus diadelphys. I'll play it again. Any doubt? On this ultrasound, you can make out the cervix. Here, see? Cervix you can see nicely down. But you cannot make out that this is a single cervix or a double cervix in the same plane. Definitely we did a ultrasound guided DNC for her. So next patient, primary infertility, both kidneys are seen on ultrasound, both ovaries are present and married life is 3 years. So this is the 2D picture, diagnosis, provisional diagnosis. Bicornuate, septate, quadriseptate. These are both ovaries. And can you make out something in this picture? These are two endometrial cavities. These are two. Why not diadelphys? I told you just now. What is this? What is this? This is convex. contour. This is serosal fundus. So always remember serosal fundus, and then this is endometrial fundus. Yes, this is complete septate uterus. You can make out here. Angle between is less than 90 degree. So again I have shown here septate, partial, and this is complete. So this figure you can nicely make out that this is complete septate. Septum is coming up to the cervix. Here also you can see complete septate. It is also looking like, but in this picture actually the serosal fundus is not clear, so I cannot comment. So always remember the serosal fundus and the endometrial fundus and this intercornual line, and always follow your passion. So ultrasound is my passion, so I am following it, I am doing it, I am loving it. So always you should follow your passion, and that's why you are here. Thank you so much.